When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile. Because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens, our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way, because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning, Uganda. I hope you're doing well on this Tuesday morning. My name is Mollen, Kenyena. I have two gentlemen with me in studio, and we are especially glad that you are joining us. Well, lots of stories across the country and beyond. Also, big game last night, Manchester United against Liverpool. I am not ecstatic about it, but I know maybe you are. But also we do have some sad news coming through. We did have an accident along Maria district that is killing 13 people and 5 injured when the truck overturned on the road. But also more on that, we also had another accident, I think in Tungamo, a lot of accident instances again reappearing. But also news coming through from parts of Arua and Madi Okolo district is that 12 people have been reported dead after taking some poisonous liquor. And of course 20 of them are now hospitalized still because of the same liquor. And the police is coming out to say this is not acceptable. They have shut down the plant where most of this local gin was being brewed. Very sad stories. Loss is loss, and we continue to send our prayers and condolences with you. But also our neighbors on the borders, I don't know, maybe 50% of Kenyans are jubilating because Azimio la Umoja leader alongside with his running mate Martha Karua did go to court, and of course they have filed their petition that is challenging the election, that is the August 9th election that saw Ruto William as the president-elect of Kenya. Now, Raila Odinga is saying, no, we are taking this to court. And of course, we did see events that happened yesterday. Most of them were actually dramatic. After his lawyer, Daniel, took an online petition that was before a truck carrying evidence, he'd roll in the Supreme Court with a lot of those. We saw a lot of boxes coming through. And it seems like the man actually has big evidence to present. But also what is happening back home here. Well, we've seen mixed views from some of the members of parliament, especially regarding the government's conclusion on some of the mergers that we put across. Well, looks like there is a sweep also across parastatals that we need to touch through now. Gentlemen with me, I'll let you take your pick and also choose some of the stories that did catch your attention. Starting with you, Robert. Good morning.
Good morning to you. I hope you're fine because you look fine.
Ah, thank you.
And of course, on this other side, good morning, Kunda.
Morning.
I must say I love your tie. And you're smart this morning. Well, for me, I'll first look at what happened on our roads yesterday. It was a very interesting scene where police mounted a number of roadblocks as they were cracking on defaulters of express penalty schemes, these tickets that you're given. And I want to tell you, police says they're determined to recover 8 billion Uganda shillings. So before you leave home, you know you got this express, ticket and you chose not to pay that ticket, please, before you hit the road, make sure you clear that money. Go to any mobile mobile money outlet, and clear. Otherwise, police is going to inconvenience you. They're going to impound that vehicle until you pay, and you come with proof of payment. That is the only time you're going to be able to take your vehicle. So think about that. If it's safer for you to use a border bee until you have the money to clear that, than having your vehicle toiled to a police station where it will spend a long time there because you're still looking for that money. But it's also good practice. You're given about 28 days to pay this. Why don't you pay these tickets? Well, now is the time for you to pay. But we're looking at Kenya. Yesterday I found it very interesting. I was watching about 2 televisions that is in Kenya. So 2 channels.
Yeah.
And these are 2 media houses. And each had a lawyer. So the interpretation, one, they were in favor of Ruto, saying Raila Odinga in 2007 went to the same court and his petition was dismissed. In 2017, he went to the same court and actually his election was nullified. I mean, the election was nullified, but the problem was that even when they repeated the election, still nothing had changed. Was going back to the same electoral commission, almost same everything.
Maybe this time he actually makes a point, because his argument is he's actually petitioning a court the fact that the head of the IEBC did not follow the right procedure into, you know, making Ruto president-elect, and that's what he's challenging. Also bringing in votes that were unaccounted for by the same person. Maybe this time he actually has what it takes to pull it up, and me,
well, it was very interesting because lawyers from both sides, when you hear, everyone will tell you, but the law does not work in vacuum. Though he brings those boxes, though what, they look at other factors. But well, it's going to be an exciting one. And of course, I believe that Felix is in Kenya there and now filling their pockets. Because this is not voluntary work. They are making good money. Yes,
for sure. And of course, I know most of the lawyers are interested in this case. Seems like a big case across East Africa. We have a lawyer on board. Felix, good morning. And what are your feelings about this?
Well, good morning, Mollen, and the man himself, Uncle Bob, Robert. I hope everyone is okay. Tuesday, another beautiful day again. We are already in the week, and definitely it looks like we've been there for a long time. At least, you see, once Monday ends, the week feels like it's almost done. So that's the feeling that comes with Tuesday. But of course, I did talk about Kenya. I'll tell you something. The law is so beautiful, but only gets ugly if it's not on your side. Everyone will always run to the law. Now, depending what you come back with from the law, is what the law is to you.
So what is justice then?
Justice is simply the one who's jubilating over the one who's not jubilating. That's justice.
Justice is the one who makes a better case in court.
That's the thing. But depending on what? Now that's what courts do. They're the ones who sit over the evidence. But even the people sitting over the evidence, they are not any better than the people they are listening to. That's what I'm saying. Whoever comes back with a judgment is the one who has justice. So with this whole thing of Raila Odinga, as I've always asked at the end of the day, I was privileged to go through the petition, but I can tell you, much of the petition, council are going on a fishing expedition, and they may be narrowing closer to the deepest of the shallowness of the waters in the legalese of Kenyan constitution, and of course the interpretations there. There's not much you may get out of this case. Nevertheless, there will be a bit of jurisprudence set for some of us who are interested. But as a matter of fact, many of our lawyers here have also applied for amicus curiae for the case. I don't know how many of us they will allow, but through the Law Society we have applied.
Are you saying?
Yeah. We have made application to be amicus curiae there in Kenya, so we don't know how many they will allow. So we wait and see if our opinions shall be valid. We have read some good things from various councils. Even yesterday, one of the seniors, I was with the likes of Peter Walubiri and the Mpanga David. We hope they accept the amicus curiae applications. But far from that, there are a lot of threats in Parliament, left, right, center. We don't know who's saying who's lying, who's telling the truth. But clearly, the ones they are threatening are not about to back down. The threateners and the threatenees None of them is to back down. But just lastly, Mollen and Robert here. Why did you study what you studied, Mollen, if you don't mind sharing with me and our viewers?
Well, first for me, I would say it was my passion for it.
Oh, really?
In my field, yes.
It's something you loved.
It's something I've loved. I've always loved aviation, and I believe that I could at least be part of that. Now, getting there, I'm like, okay, this is something I wanted to do. That's the truth for me.
Kirabo, why did you study what you studied?
Passion. To be honest, I had two things that I really wanted to be. One, I wanted to be a pilot. You know the story I told you about that. Why I was unable
Nowadays,
to be a
everyone
pilot
wants
then.
to have a relationship with aviation. Is it because of the
because there is
story?
But I've always, Mollen, I've always
Probably
said
there is
this.
a job
I've
opening
always said
soon.
this until...
I
don't
don't
know
see
that.
the job opening anyway.
well, but now it seems it doesn't matter what you studied.
But
so
I
I can
me,
get there.
apparently,
point.
I wanted to be a hands-on. I would have preferred to be a mechanic. Honestly, that kind of work, construction. I don't know. Things changed along the way, but I'm happy either way. But the reason why I ask this is, does it matter anymore what you study vis-a-vis what you actually become in life?
Question is, should it matter? Because if you studied something in life, I think you have, that you owe it to yourself to take that career path. However, if that is not for you, then you can always explore other options. So it does matter what you studied, because it actually shapes you into who you are. Look at you, Felix. Most of the arguments you're making, you're bringing the lawyer thing in you, even when it has nothing to do with the law. So it shapes everything that you're doing. It shapes your thinking, your discussion. And I think that's something that we should all acknowledge.
And for me, why I prefer people to study something out of passion. You see, when someone is doing something, just imagine if Felix was a mechanic, I think we would have invented a vehicle by now.
They missed.
So when you study what you
gentlemen,
want, it's out of you, and you're into that. You meet a doctor because they went for money, and maybe my father is a doctor, so I had to be a doctor. Then this guy has no passion at all. When you look at a veterinary doctor who has passion for animals, when it comes to treat your cow or any animal, you see this guy even go an extra mile, checking and all that. But if someone went there because of grades they got, or because of their, family lineage and all that, then they do funny things.
It's always a lot.
Do to complete and go and get paid.
Yeah.
But a person who has passion to that has an extra touch
Honestly.
into that.
And that's why
I'll
I respect
tell you one
Robert,
thing.
who did journalism out of passion, because he's able to watch 2 TVs and 2 channels.
Yeah, and he's always getting... Gentlemen, I'll tell you one thing that is actually something you wouldn't be interested in listening to right now, especially if you're thinking of taking my career. Guess what? Now, well, we know that there are a lot of challenges with weather prediction, and something I'm passionate about, I did choose. But again, yesterday there was a story coming through from Hungary. And well, the Weather Center, National Meteorological Services, actually did give a forecast saying that, the kind of weather that will be happening across Budapest, which is the nation's capital, will not permit them to do their fireworks as they were celebrating their independence on Saturday. But again, it looks like the storm that was in the forecast did miss Budapest. It missed it, but, it was everywhere else. And because of that, the chief of the National Meteorological Services was sacked from his job because of something like that, something he predicted. And the interesting part is the meteorological agency did come out to say, we apologize, this was an uncertainty, but we did see the storm coming, although it missed the capital. And now they're saying, you made us miss the fireworks. You should pay for that by losing your job. It's not fair.
There is good, there is something above whatever science does. That's why to some time we believe that people can tell rain don't come and doesn't come. Now the science was showing that. But who knows if there was someone who sent it out?
Exactly. Maybe people in Hungary, maybe the people in Hungary have other gods that, they just prayed against it.
He knows people who can have a wedding and event.
For me, I know my auntie, Mama Betty, used to, the tricks, she knows what she used to tell us to do. You go, then you...
well, a lot
but of course,
happening.
as kids...
Yeah, a lot is happening, and of course we also want to take a torch into some of these government agencies or government parastatals. What is the work being done by COSASE as well? Is it justifiable? Do the ends justify the means? That's a conversation that we will be having later on in our newsreel. But also after that, we'll be going through at least some of the print media. We take you to the road. We do weather as well. We'll be having sports updates in the queue. And of course, for right now, we want to take you through some of the stories that made headlines last night. And we'll start off with the local stories. What do we have, Robert?
Well, COVID-19 vaccination for children commenced yesterday, and parents are being called upon to ensure that they take their children for vaccination. Children vaccination campaign for COVID-19 at various centers across the country kicked off yesterday. The nationwide vaccination of COVID-19 follows an outbreak of the deadly virus on the 20th of January 2022. The first vaccination for adults started in 2021 and has been followed by a campaign to vaccinate children.
Now still in local stories, sadly 13 market traders did die and 5 others injured when a Fuso truck registration number UBA 670V overturned at the Alomai swamp along Mwera Asamok Road in Amuria District. Now, Amuria District OC5 chairperson Moses Emabu told UBC that the traders hailing from Mbale District were going for weekly markets in Adipala Kapelabyong District in Orwamuge Market in Kotido District.
And now looking at wildlife and human conflict, we see over 1,000 people in 12 villages neighboring Makshan Falls National Park in Bulisa District have petitioned the Ministry of Tourism to take action on the rampant attacks by elephants. They attribute the attacks on oil and gas developments going on in the park.
Now still in local stories, Ojik Jude, a lawyer working with Ojik Advocates, has been charged and remanded on 6 counts of stealing 2 billions. Now, prosecution did allege that the stolen money was meant for Lugwa clan after their land was used by UPDF at Pajimo in Kitgum district, and the accused pleaded not guilty to all the alleged offenses.
Over into the international scene, Ukraine's capital Kyiv has banned public celebrations commemorating independence from Soviet rule, citing a heightened threat of attack from Russia. Al Jazeera's Teresa Bo, reporting from Kyiv on Monday, said Ukrainian capital is banning any type of mass gatherings, while the city's military administrator is ordering security forces to be ready to respond to any types of instances like missile attacks and bombings. The ban came after Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky warned that Moscow could try something particularly ugly in the run-up to Wednesday's 31st independence anniversary, which also marks half of the year since Russia invaded. The Reuters news agency, citing an official document, said the ban on public events related to the anniversary will last from Monday through to Thursday. And Kyiv is far from the front lines and has only rarely been hit by Russian missiles since Ukrainian troops repelled a Russian group offensive to seize the capital in March. Other jurisdictions also restricted the public gatherings in Kharkiv and a northeastern city that has come under frequent and deadly longer-range artillery and rocket fire. Mayor Ihol Terekov announced an extension of an overnight curfew to run from 4 p.m. to 7 a.m. effective Tuesday to Thursday. Another story, Anthony Fauci, who will be stepping down as head of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases and chief medical advisor to President Joe Biden, has served as a director of NIAID for 38 years, and he said he would leave both positions in December to pursue his next chapter of his career. It has been an honor of a lifetime to have led the NIAID. Dr. Fauci, who is 81, said in a statement. He became the face of the nation's COVID-19 response during the pandemic of COVID-19, and on Monday, Mr. Biden thanked him for his spirit, energy, and scientific integrity. The United States of America is stronger, more resilient, and healthier because of him, the president wrote in a statement. In July, Dr. Fauci said he would retire before the end of Mr. Biden's current term, and he will be joined in the National Institute of Health in what he has termed as a long race from 1968, when the Lyndon Johnson was president. He was appointed to director of NIAID, the Infectious National Disease Branch, in 1984, while the AIDS epidemic raged. Now, he has served under 7 presidents since the Republican Ronald Reagan to the Democrat, that is Joe Biden. It wasn't until 2020, with the onset of the coronavirus pandemic, that he became the most famous doctor in America. Dr. Fauci became a frequent media presence in the US and abroad as he emerged as a face of America's fight against coronavirus. He also became a polarizing figure during that time.
Crossing back into Africa, Somalia's Prime Minister has promised accountability after a deadly Mogadishu hotel siege by Al-Shabaab, calling the armed group children of hell. Now, Hamza Abdi Bare also called on Monday for Somalia to unite against the Al-Qaeda-linked group, which has been waging a bloody rebellion in the Horn of Africa nations for more than at least 15 years. Now, there will be accountability in government. Anyone who neglected the responsibility he was entrusted with will be held accountable, Bare told reporters. There is only one of 2 choices here. We either allow Al-Shabaab, the children of hell, to live, or we will live. We cannot live together, said Barry, appointed Prime Minister in June. Now, he was speaking after visiting a hospital treating victims of the bomb and gun attacks on the Hyatt Hotel, which the Health Ministry said killed 21 people and at least wounded 117 others. Authorities said more than 100 people, including women and children, were rescued during this siege.
And in weather and climate news, from China to New York City, climate change is making drought conditions worse. As climate change makes droughts more frequent and severe, major population centers across the world are suffering through droughts this summer. According to the U.S. National Weather Service, 36% of New York's metropolitan area, the poorest metropolitan region in the United States, with more than 20 million residents, is on a severe extreme drought alert. On Thursday, the U.S. Drought Monitor, a joint project of 2 federal agencies and University of Nebraska, released its latest report, which listed the South Shore of Long Island and a chunk of north-central New Jersey as being in severe drought. The New York City, also of Staten Island, and parts of Brooklyn are also in severe drought. For Brooklyn, which has 2.5 million residents, this has been its first severe drought in 20 years. Manhattan's Central Park averages to 10.7 inches of rain from June 1st to August 11th, but this year it received just over 8 inches in that period, leaving many plants shivered and lawns brown. A local TV channel, WNBC Channel 4, reported last week that local farmers are also being affected because of that. Well, a lot is happening across the country and of course the world. We're looking at more Al-Shabaab killings again in Somalia. Very sad stories over there, but also want to come back home here and take a look into our health benefits. I know Robert always preaches a very wonderful gospel every morning. Robert.
Well, I'm holding these 2 beautiful, lovely bottles because they help to keep you alive by boosting your immune system. Now, these you can also offer as gifts. Today, one of our viewers, and of course, usually a person who joins us more in Good Morning Uganda agenda, the director of Enjazi Limited, that is Ashesh Tandwe, it's his birthday. And I want to tell you, I'm coming with a carton of Hallelujah banana juice and a carton of Hallelujah Jingati should my producer give them to me. I will be coming with them over as we enjoy the cake, and these will be the drinks. So get these at just 1,500 a bottle. They will greatly boost your immune system, and you'll save so much money that you will be spending in hospital for more productive and developmental work.
Well, of course, also we do add voices to Uncle Bob's one to wish you greatly a big happy birthday, my brother Ashe Chitandwe. That is the CEO, Janzi. Yeah, he's done quite a good one in terms of labor export, and definitely he's been a good advisor to the people who do the same job. He has served in the capacity of CEO, and later on, of course, was deputy head of the association that does take UELA, exactly. But for us here, good morning, Uganda. I wish you a happy birthday. You're a comrade, you're a friend, and definitely wish you the best, and of course, to many more years, I must say. But of course, far from that, I want us to look at the poll question today, and we want to do cause evaluation into what is the role of Parliament in guiding national accountability and transparency. Most recently, we've seen lots of friction between institutions. You've seen people before PAC, COSASE, all these committees, name them. We want you, our viewers, to tell us, does Parliament actually have a role in fostering national accountability and transparency? Now, what is the role of Parliament in guiding national accountability and transparency?
Well, there you have it, and obviously you can give us your sentiments and your views on that. The hashtag on our social media is hashtag UBCGMU. Also, you can send us a text, a WhatsApp text. The WhatsApp number is 0709 602 592, and we will have views to share right here. Well, we still have a lot coming your way, and right now we'll be taking a short break, giving you some of the inspirations that we do give you every morning. That comes in with a song. After that, we will be looking at this morning's newsreel. We'll be back after the break. Board. Felix, good morning, and what are your feelings about this?
Well, good morning, Mollen, and the man himself, Uncle Bob, Robert. I hope everyone is okay. Tuesday, another beautiful day. Again, we are already in the week, and definitely it looks like we've been there for a long time at least. You see, once Monday ends, the week feels like it's almost done. So that's the feeling that comes with Tuesday. But of course, I did talk about Kenya. I'll tell you something. The law is so beautiful, but only gets ugly if it's not on your side. Everyone will always run to the law. Now, depending what you come back with from the law, is what the law is to you.
So, what is justice then?
Justice is simply the one who's jubilating over the one who's not jubilating. That's justice.
Justice is the one who makes a better case in court.
That's the thing. But depending on what? Now, that's what courts do. They're the ones who sit over the evidence, but even the people sitting over the evidence, they are not any better than the people they are listening to. That's what I'm saying. Whoever comes back with a judgment is the one who has justice. So with this whole thing of Raila Odinga, as I've always asked at the end of the day, I was privileged to go through the petition, but I can tell you, much of the petition, council are going on a fishing expedition, and they may be narrowing closer to the deepest of the shallowness of the waters in the legalese of Kenyan constitution, and of course the interpretations there. There's not much may get out of this case. Nevertheless, there will be a bit of jurisprudence set for some of us who are interested. But as a matter of fact, many of our lawyers here have also applied for amicus curiae for the case. I don't know how many of us they will allow, but through the Law Society we have applied.
Are you saying?
Yeah. We have made application to be amicus curiae there in Kenya, so we don't know how many they will allow. So we wait and see if our opinions shall be valid. We have written some good things from various councils. Even yesterday, one of the seniors I was with, the likes of Peter Walubili and the Mpanga David. We hope they accept the amicus curiae applications. But far from that, there are a lot of threats in Parliament, left, right, center. We don't know who's saying who's lying, who's telling the truth. But clearly, the ones they are threatening are not about to back down. The threateners and the threatenees, none of them is to back down. But just lastly, Mollen and Robert here, why did you study what you studied, Mollen, if you don't mind sharing with me and our viewers?
Well, first for me, I would say it was my passion for it.
Oh, really?
In my field, yes.
It's something you loved.
It's something I've loved. I've always loved aviation, and I believe that I could at least be part of that. Now, getting there, I'm like, okay, this is something I wanted to do. That's the truth for me.
Kirabo, why did you study what you studied?
Passion. To be honest, I had two things that I really wanted to be. One, I wanted to be a pilot. You know the story I told you about that. Why I was unable
Nowadays,
to be a
everyone
pilot
wants
then.
to have a relationship with aviation. Is it because of the
Is it because there is like that,
But I've always, Mollen, I've always
probably
said
there is
this.
a job
I've
opening
always said
soon.
this until...
I don't
know
see the
that.
job opening anywhere.
well, but now it seems it doesn't matter what you studied.
But
so
for
I can
me,
get there.
apparently,
point.
I wanted to be a hands-on. I would have preferred to be a mechanic. Honestly, that kind of work, construction. I don't know. Things changed along the way, but I'm happy either way. But the reason why I ask this is, does it matter anymore what you study vis-a-vis what you actually become in life?
Question is, should it matter? Because if you studied something in life, I think you have, that you owe it to yourself to take that career path. However, if that is not for you, then you can always explore other options. So it does matter what you studied, because it actually shapes you into who you are. Look at you, Felix. Most of the arguments you're making, you're bringing the lawyer thing in you, even when it has nothing to do with the law. So it shapes everything that you're doing. It shapes your thinking, your discussion. And I think that's something that we should all acknowledge.
And for me, why I prefer people to study something out of passion. You see, when someone is doing something, just imagine if Felix was a mechanic, I think would have invented a vehicle by now.
They have missed.
They missed. So when you study what you want, it's out of you, and you're into that. You meet a doctor because they went for money, and maybe my father is a doctor, so I had to be a doctor. Then this guy has no passion at all. When you look at a veterinary doctor who has passion for animals, when it comes to treat your cow or any animal, you see this guy even go an extra mile, checking and all that. But if someone went there because of grades they got, or because of their, family lineage and all that, then they look for things.
It's always a lot.
Do to complete and go and get paid.
Yeah.
But a person who has passion to that has an extra touch.
Honestly, and that's why I respect Robert, who did journalism out of passion, because he's able to watch 2 TVs and 2 channels.
Yeah, and he's always getting... Gentlemen, I'll tell you one thing that is actually something you wouldn't be interested in listening to right now, especially if you're thinking of taking my career. Guess what? Now, well, we know that there are a lot of challenges with weather prediction, and something I'm passionate about, I did choose. But again, yesterday there was a story coming through from Hungary. And, well, the Weather Center, National Meteorological Services, actually did give a forecast saying that, the kind of weather that will be happening across Budapest, which is the nation's capital, will not permit them to do their fireworks as they were celebrating their independence on Saturday. But again, it looks like the storm that was in the forecast did miss Budapest. It missed it, but, it was everywhere else. And because of that, the chief of the National Meteorological Services was sacked from his job because of something like that, something he predicted. And the interesting part is the meteorological agency did come out to say, we apologize, this was an uncertainty, but we did see the storm coming, although it missed the capital. And now they're saying, you made us miss the fireworks. You should pay for that by losing your job. It's not fair.
There is good, there is something above whatever science does. That's why to sometime we believe that people can tell rain don't come and doesn't come. Now the science was showing that. But who knows if there was someone who sent it out.
Exactly. Maybe people in Hungary, maybe the people in Hungary have other gods that, they just prayed against it.
He knows people who can... If you have a wedding and event.
For me, I know my auntie, Mama Betty, used to, the tricks, she knows what she used to tell us to do. You go, then you... well,
a lot
but of course,
happening.
as kids...
Yeah, a lot is happening, and of course we also want to take a torch into some of these government agencies or government parastatals. What is the work being done by COSASE as well? Is it justifiable? Do the ends justify the means? That's a conversation that we will be having later on in our newsreel. But also after that, we'll be going through at least some of the print media. We take you to the board. We do weather as well. We'll be having sports updates in the queue. And of course, for right now, we want to take you through some of the stories that made headlines last night. And we'll start off with the local stories. What do we have, Robert?
Well, COVID-19 vaccination for children commenced yesterday, and parents are being called upon to ensure that they take their children for vaccination. Children vaccination campaign for COVID-19 at various centers across the country kicked off yesterday. The nationwide vaccination of COVID-19 follows an outbreak of the deadly virus on the 20th of January 2022. The first vaccination for adults started in 2021 has been followed by a campaign to vaccinate children.
Now still in local stories, sadly 13 market traders did die and 5 others injured when a Fuso truck registration number UBA 670V overturned at the Alomai swamp along Mwera Asamok Road in Amuria district. Now Amuria district OC5 chairperson Moses Emabu told UBC that the traders hailing from Bale district were going for weekly markets in Adipala Kapelabyong district in Orwamuge market in Kotido district.
And now looking at wildlife and human conflict, we see over 1,000 people in 12 villages neighboring Maction Falls National Park in Bulisa district have petitioned the Ministry of Tourism to take action on the rampant attacks by elephants. They attribute the attacks on oil and gas developments going on in the park.
Now still in local stories, Ojik Jude, a lawyer working with Ojik advocates, has been charged and remanded on 6 counts of stealing 2 billion. Now, prosecution did allege that the story
on board. Felix, good morning, and what are your feelings about this?
Well, good morning, Mollen, and the man himself, Uncle Bob, Robert. I hope everyone is okay. Tuesday, another beautiful day again. We are already in the week, and definitely it looks like we've been there for a long time at least. You see, once Monday ends, the week feels like it's almost. Well, of course, there's quite a blurry image of most of the parastatals, but probably also to just give a bit of enlightenment. We're looking at parastatals in the form of what we call statutory bodies or statutory formations that are majorly made to meet or to address relevant and existing mischiefs. The same lies in cabins of examples, like, for example, if you have a challenge in third world countries, water is still a problem. Yeah. Now, government may not directly have the expertise to make sure that water is available to every other Ugandan and every other corner of the country. So it is incumbent on Parliament to deliberate and in its own powers to pass a statutory instrument that does put in place a parastatal, such as probably National Water and Sewage Corporation. Now thereafter, because the corporation means that there's an aspect of government vis-a-vis a bit of standalone, which appreciates what we call a semi-autonomous existence under the law. It means that it has a right to run its own modus operandi, but also it has great support from government through its line ministry. The minister has powers over it, seemingly, that may also be limited. But that is the nature of what we are talking about, and some of these could stretch as far as the URAs of this world, the UBCs of this world, the CAAs, the NEMA, the UTBs, all those kind of institutions. And for us, because they are meant to address specific mischiefs, we can only evaluate them in that line. You may need to go on a one-on-one approach. But if you want to look at the general spectrum in terms of approach, you will be surprised that the expectations are quite high, yet the deliverance is very, very low. Most of these institutions were formed to address mischiefs, as I said earlier. Now, the evaluation comes with that. Let's talk about institutions like the National Water and Sewage Corporation. How available is water in this country today? How accessible is it? It's a question you want to ask, because that was the purpose. That was the purpose, that do people today access good water? Okay. Is it actually clean water? But is it affordable water? Today, I don't know how much a liter is. Probably Robert knows. He's normally, he works with communities a lot. But that is a question. When you go to the distribution, let's say of electricity today, the Uganda, is it electricity distribution company, something like that? How far has it gone? Now, all these parastatals together must bring into life the existence of socio-economic development. When you look at them singularly, you will be shocked that there's been a lot. In fact, if it's in a score, on a scale of 100, probably they have been able to achieve about 40, if not 20. 40 because, one, they're in existence, they have survived. Some of them have not been extinct, like the Uganda, is it, what was UTL, Uganda Telecommunication, something like that. But for them, we added the 20 because of existence. But serving the purpose, trust me, if parastatals were in full gear operation, most of the things, because they are more into service delivery, away from government setup, they are more into service delivery. And if you look, most of them, you look at institutions like the URAs, they're supposed to collect all these, go to the NEMAs of this world. Look how many per building, you know. Look at the two. So what I'm saying is that if you want an overview from me, that is what they are. The purpose is definitely in place, but meeting the purpose is something they are far from. No wonder every year, in terms of governance, we are having queries from institutions like Parliament. Most recently, you've seen what is happening in the airlines. Previously, it was the railways. Previous to that, it was the Bank of Uganda. Previous to that, there was NEMA. Previous to that, all those are parastatals we are talking about. The KCCAs of you understand. Yeah. And the existence of these committees in Parliament actually is the evidence that there's a problem. Because if everything was well, probably wouldn't be having my brother Nyonyintono up in flames lately. So if you want my opinion on a general scale, there's a lot to be done for us to interest ourselves in their relevance in terms of building socio-economic development for a country that is third world like Uganda.
Well, that is very well put, and of course when you talk about their roles, their performance so far, you do see that obviously the queries that Parliament is also raising is actually well-needed queries, because we need to see performance on board. But this is where I want to bring you in, Robert. Felix, having stated some of those roles, some of the performances that are expected from them, we also see Parliament coming through with committees to actually evaluate most of their works. And I think most of what is talked about is COSASE. Now, the implication is that some of these agencies or some of these statutory bodies where COSASE goes, they actually think maybe these guys are here to winch hunt me or head hunt me, and like we have had some of those sentences being said. But we do believe that most of these committees are actually meant to evaluate and find out where these bodies are going wrong, although they might not agree with that. Now, I want you to tell us more, especially what you think Parliament is doing with these committees. Is it the right move, and have they been well equipped to make sure that they can overturn some of these performances in these government agencies?
Well, first we must understand that these committees were set through the law. The committees of Parliament, and they have specific roles, about 5 of them, and I want to mention them. Now we have to discuss and make recommendations on all bills laid by Parliament. That is one of the roles of these committees of Parliament. 2, to initiate any bill within their respective area of competency. Because remember, a Parliament sat and there are about 9 committees that are really very standing. And each of them has a specific role For example, you have that on human rights. Their cake is clearly cut out that for you issues of human rights. Then you have one that has come on the spotlight. That is a COSASE, that is a Committee on Commission, Statutory Authorities and State Enterprises. It is an accounting committee. These committees have the role to assess and evaluate activities of government and that is other bodies. So it is within the law, it is their mandate to do so, and to carry out relevant research in their respective fields. Also to report to Parliament on their functions. So committees are not doing anything that is not within the law. However, they are not the final judges. That is, that these committees, much as they have the power into these areas, but they will not finally be the end result of it. That is why when you see people appear before COSASE, then COSASE will tell you we are handing over to police to investigate or to carry on. They will tell you we are now calling attention of the IGG to do more investigation. But what their role is to follow up, to bring to light, I think, I want to say to a larger extent, committees of parliament have performed more so in this recent parliament. However, we must also understand that, excuse me, a number of these committees, by constitution or composition, many are headed by the opposition, those vital committees. So it was wise that they're headed by the opposition. So sometimes we see, and this is a problem that our country is also facing so much. One is the element of politicking may not be something that they may swallow throughout. That is why sometimes people are seeing them as going to the extreme, you know, extreme and bring out the politicking in the line of doing their duty. Yes, they are politicians, and being on these committees would, and I want to believe, depend on merit. Though, of course, there's also scrambling. Which committee am I given? You know, I don't know why. You see members of parliament when they are new, you see them all, I want to be on COSASE, I want to be on this committee, I want to be on that committee. I think there's also some economic benefit to which committees. Some are fatty committees, others may not have so much for you to take home. But they should be based on competence. What can you do? What is your area of expertise? Can we put you to this committee? So, sometimes we see that extra element of them moving away from what they should be doing as law and politicking. But also too, we must understand that because of the nature of some of these committees and the work they do, we can't move away issues of corruption. Because I remember even when they're initiating these committees, most of COSASE, they were told that members, you're going in a sensitive area, do not be corrupt. Two, why these committees sometimes people may look at them as not having function is when you're holding people accountable, mostly because you're discussing billions of money that may have not been used properly or got lost and something like that. You cannot withstand influence, intimidation to some extent. These are things that at one level may hinder their effective performance. But by and large, they have at least brought so much in the limelight. The only problem is they don't drive this to the end tail. When you bring people of Uganda Railways and then Joel Senyonyi says, we are now handing them over to police to carry on. The institution you're handling, these two, has been there and could have investigated that before. They have a fully fledged unit to do that. You know, when you say we are handing this to the IGG to continue. So if they had the overall power to drive this, which they don't have under their mandate. So that is where sometimes people have come out and said, but well, this committee will just excite Ugandans. Excite Ugandans. So much money. These have brought wagons that don't work. So what happened? Have they left offices? They're still in offices. Has this money come back? It is not. Today you're talking about airlines.
But again, Kirabo, you look into the fact that yes, these committees are there, but their role is also to like evaluate performances within these parastatals, and obviously we do see that as a huge contribution. They do not have to be taking, you know, the utmost decision of okay, we deem this unfit or whatever. Their role is to actually find out what these parastatals are doing. Is it to the government interest? Is it to their mandate of what they're doing? And obviously we've also seen that most of the uncoverings of these have not been very like good news to most of these parastatals. And it's not just the parastatals. We did see most of these committees making probes. Even the recent shillings 10.6 billion that were in the land compensation, where the committee did, Parliament actually recommended for investigation of the finance minister. This has been done before. But also I want to bring in Felix on this. We're seeing that most of these are hailing onto the fact that the heads of these agencies, statutory bodies, are being queried for their qualifications in some of these jobs. And a recent one, we've seen the CEO of Uganda Airlines, but we know that there are more of those that have not been put to a limelight. Are we putting the right people in the right offices? Or are we putting politics into managing most of these parastatals? Is that even the issue here? Is that hindering performance? Because we do know that with any socio-economic development that you're looking at, you must have the right people in the right offices. And of course, taking in the technical bit of it. If you're putting I'll use an example of Uganda Civil Aviation Authority. This is an aviation sector. Must we have aviators leading that body? Must we have qualifications that clearly state their roles in such huge offices? What are we not looking at, especially with qualifications in these agencies?
Well, by the mere fact that these parastatals are set by an act of parliament, it does stipulate the manner in which the parastatal shall be run. It also states how the parastatal shall be managed and definitely governed if there need be. Most of all these by law formation, above them is a board. And the purpose of having a board, for most of them, if not all of them, parastatals, the existence of the board is to be an overseer in the category of that discipline. That when you go to National Water, there's a board. You come to UBC, there's a board. The Civil Aviation, there's a board. The URA, there's a board. NEMA, just all these, as long as a statutory body that qualifies under the norms of parastatal, it must have a board. Now, the purpose of the board is to help give guidance for all of these things. Whether or not qualification is key is a discussion for relevance depending or relatively for every other institution. I know for a fact that most of them, if not all of the parastatals, they have the right people in the right places in terms of leadership. If you want, you can check with the institutions like National Water and Sewage Corporation. You can go to even the CAA, as a matter of fact. You can go to the NEMAs of this world, the UTB, just the IRA, the electricity board. They have the very right people. I think the case of the Bamuturachi was just a unique one, an unfortunate one, that again has also not been substantiated by far. The arguments are still shallow in my opinion, but by far not substantiated. So away from that, but in terms of leadership, because these are statutory bodies, you may not separate the political existence from them. In as much as the law will give the criteria, they still rotate and get back to the center, which is the central government, definitely, which is politicking, and will lead you to the president or the executive. Now, because these are statutory bodies, they put in place what we call a process. The problem is not the politics, neither is it the qualification. It's abuse of process. And if you want to talk about, clearly I know everyone is itching to make comment about the Uganda airline issue. Between you and me, the problem again is the processes. If the processes of appointment were all appreciated, we wouldn't be having this argument. Because the processes would have coughed out a Kirabo or a Mollen or a myself, or would have let Mollen come through, because it's just about respect of processes, if you want a comment in relation to that.
But isn't that where we are drawing a line, saying maybe that is coming in because of politics? Why would we have to have a certain board vet someone if it wasn't politics who is not qualified? That is why we're saying the politics is actually the problem there.
Let me tell you, when you say there was politics, then you can't say there was vetting. Clearly one of them wasn't there. If you want to, you can't put both of them in one sentence in relation to this issue. There was either no vetting or there was either no politics. So one of the, if there was vetting, then politics couldn't have been there. Yeah. So probably the board didn't even do the vetting. But away from that particular issue, because the Madam Mtulachi said that was a gift, if I had that well. So I don't want to discuss a gift in terms of government parastatals. But far from that, getting back to the point of our discussion, Mollen and Robert, that as we try to evaluate these parastatals, because government is investing money in every budget, and me, I want to look at the service delivery parastatals, like the value we are getting. And Robert was trying to bring in clearly the part of Parliament's role in trying to cause evaluation. But you see why this committee is called the Statutory Instruments, Commissions and Statutory Instruments. It's the one that helps do the evaluation, which we are trying to do. Now, the hinge point in this is, most recently there's been a discussion about mergers and duplication of work. That you're going to allocate money to the Ministry of Water and what the ministry that sits in Luzira. And then you're going to allocate money to National Water and Sewerage Corporation. So, both of them may have different bases of evaluation, but I know both of them are political institutions. Those are some of the challenges as we try to evaluate the duplication. Secondly, do we have targets? For example, institutions, even these TVs, the media houses, what are the targets for a national broadcaster? People have been bashing the likes of UBC for not showing Kadongo Kamu, what, but is that part of its mandate as a national broadcaster? You understand? Other TV stations have 7 music channels in a day, music shows, but probably here the mandate is different. Now, we henceforth or hitherto discussions of evaluation, let's make the mandates of parastatals public information. The reason why we have challenges like the ones we have just been talking about is that parastatals are in existence, yet it doesn't seem like they're actually there because people don't even know about their existence. You're talking about the electricity distribution company. Do people know its existence? Do people know its mandate? Because for us to get service from such institutions, we must be aware of their existence and their mandate. So one of the biggest challenges as we evaluate parastatals is, one, lack of information about their service delivery.
Yeah. And of course, that is something that we would also want to know, especially when you're evaluating. We need to see the performance. And obviously, as we move to conclude, Robert, I want us to look into, yes, there are challenges. We're talking about the challenges, the problems in there, but they have also been performing. At least some of the agencies have been performing.
Many have performed tremendously well, I must
and no
say.
wonder some of them that have been put up for mergers or even for mainstreaming, that is also a move from government to evaluate performance. And at that level, you now need to perform to make sure that you're not caught up in some of that. And Robert, what are some of the highlights for you, some of the performances from these agencies, apart from the problem at hand that is looking into evaluation of some of the challenges?
Well, I'll look at URA, the tax body. I must say, by and large, we have seen it make tremendous steps in terms of effectiveness. They have gone into a lot of digitalization. Today, many of the queues you find are no longer there. Just by the click of the button, you get the service. They have done all it takes to minimize. Of course, they can't completely eradicate or do away with corruption, but at least they have done something that is commendable there. When you look at also UNRA, you see, you would find that a number of roads, yes, there could be challenges, but when you look at those that are in charge of, you would find that almost border to border, this country has been connected by road. You can easily move. But to me, the biggest and most important thing is what should be done to promote efficiency, effectiveness, and service delivery. One, yes, government undertook the merger and rationalization of some of these agencies that are doing the same work. It is a process underway, and I think they have about September this year to have completed this first phase. But what is most important, one, is these parastatals also have a challenge of budget allocation. You find that many of them, finances needed to perfect what they should be doing are not given as expected. Two, political influence and intervention in the operation of these parastatals also becomes a problem. So we should leave them independent. We should give them what it takes to perform their duty, then call for accountability. Otherwise, this is why you see that some are performing extremely well. They'll tell you, if you compare them, even salary disparities. You go to one parastatal, what the ED earns compared to what the other earn, you're like, are these all EDs?
But does that have to do with performance?
Well, salary disparities sometimes are a demotivator. So we have to look at this as well. We have to look at that as well, look at also avoiding these extreme interferences. We've talked, one of the bodies mentioned here is NEMA. But they'll tell you that at some level they are hindered to perfect their work. I want to tell you, if I've ever seen an institution that seemed to her so tough, so really committed, was NEMA and the banning of the Kavera polythene, you know, back under 30 microns. Oh, I saw the ED by then. Everyone in that, the adverts running. But what happened? At one time, investors meet somebody. They are told, we are here. The next, the ED you saw this morning speaking with a lot of vigor. The next evening is as if rain has rained over him.
Yes.
You know, he's now changing tune and direction. They're, okay, we were told. Yet they could have perfected the art. How many of these wetlands that they have earmarked as vital, and at one time they have been given away for investment, and they have to fold their hands and go. So these are some of the things we must look at and see how best we can improve efficiency.
Yes. Well, that is well put. Obviously, the efficiency is also much needed. But we also know that Robert did hit a good point about compromise, especially when someone is excited about something and then there are compromises. Felix, your concluding mark, do you think most of these government agencies are actually compromised somehow with the funding factor in mind?
Most of them have suffered issues of corruption, and if you're not careful, if you go to the anti-corruption court, you're going to find most of the EDs, the director of finances, most of them are battling with cases, and it stretches for almost go to the forestry. Most of these parastatals, most of their EDs end up in court battles. It means there's a lot of corruption clearly in these institutions, and that is a big hindrance. I don't think the budgets are the issues are the people in there. Probably that speaks to what Mollen did say earlier about the right people in the right offices. If you want my evaluation about parastatals, they have a lot to do. A lot. They have been around for a long time. They haven't done half of their expectations, probably, towards Ugandans. And that serves for all of them without any unification.
Clearly, a lot of work needs to be done as we continue to look into this topic and also the performance. But we also need your views, which is why we're still running our poll question. What is the role of Parliament in guiding national accountability and transparency? The hashtag is hashtag UBCGMU. You can go over to our Twitter handle, that is at UBC Television Uganda, UBC TV Uganda, and our WhatsApp number 0709602592. Give us your views and your comments about that. But in the meantime, we'll be taking you through some of the headlines within the newspapers this morning. And of course, we'll be back with more later. Right now, we're taking a break and we'll be back with more of that.
Forget last season. Forget the oohs and ahs. Forget every moment that stole the show, because the real show is here on GoTV. It's the new season. It's action-packed, and it's going to be non-stop football. With over 1,000 games from more than 7 leagues and cup competitions plus a World Cup. Make sure you get the best seat in the house this new football season. Get a GoCoder with 1 month of GoTV value for only 25,000 Uganda shillings and enjoy non-stop football. GoTV Uganda. Love it.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Kirabo using to Gabane. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here, in the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking, to the taste of food that takes you on a journey, in the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth, in the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
A lot coming through the newspapers for this morning. I'm holding the New Vision. Felix does have the Daily Monitor. Felix, started off with the Daily Monitor. What do we have?
Well, of course, the Daily Monitor, we're looking at now travel chaos as crackdown starts. Of course, also Raila asks court to nullify poll results, but also still in the papers, get a couple of tenders here. They do come to give you, and why Embalu dancers raided VIP tent at Fete, and Busongora poll loser heap blame on security. But still in the paper, IGG cancels city road contracts over bribery. And of course, still looking at the Daily Monitor, Mollen will be looking at police officer charged over arresting bride at wedding. Now, the spokesperson of police does say that was gross misconduct. But today in history, Uganda Labour Congress was formed and Sako, that is a Venzetti, are executed.
And in the New Vision, we look more into police toughen on traffic defaulters. Over 300 cars impounded in a crackdown. That is a detailed story on page 4. Also in the New Vision, Katumba speaks out on airline probe. That story is on page 9 of the New Vision. Now they give you a big picture right there, the delivery ceremony of Uganda automated rig project with low emission and soundproof system. Oil well drilling starts in December. That is a story for you in the New Vision. And in education, overhaul colonial education. Details on page 2. Guns, police issue tough rules on firearms. Details on page 4. And alcohol, illicit brew kills 14 over 20 admitted. Details are also on page 7 of the New Vision. Now crossing over to the second page, Museveni wants colonial education system overhauled. Of course, giving you a picture right there of President Museveni and Mrs. Janet Museveni officiating a closure of head teachers retreat at Koro Independent Ground. And also today in history, back in 2002, Museveni names coin negotiators. And back in 1999, Sudan close to talks. The Sudanese government moved closer to talking part of the Libyan-Egyptian-sponsored peace talks. after naming delegates right there. They give you more of the details in today's paper.
Now today in sports, also looking at Uganda third as AC seals MX Africa title, and Chan Mitchell's biggest task on the job yet. But also inside is give you on how he will be going against different teams. And now Sparta 09 crowned inaugural under-13 championship, and Ethan Kalungu switches cold swim fortunes there for you.
Crossing over into the New Vision Sport, why Uganda lost out in the FIM battle. That is Uganda pulling out of the FIM Motocross of African Nations Championship success fully, but did not achieve the main target of winning it. That was in 2012. But again, there is more still up. Details are in that story in the New Vision. Settling the old scores, Gift Sebuguzi also, who is looking into his class ahead of South African's rider Blade Tyree. Looks like he also has more of the hopes for this championship. Now also inside the New Vision Sport, the Reina Higat rule. They also give you FIFA Africa World Cup qualifiers, Uganda fixtures. Of course, as you look at the FIBA Africa World Cup qualification right there, they give you Uganda against Angola. That will be in August 26th, 27th against Ivory Coast, and 28th for Guinea. Now there are more details in the New Vision Sports.
Well, of course, now crossing over to Daily Nation there, the big headline was it stolen is the question in a separate petition. That is, Umtata says none of the candidates achieved the threshold. Definitely, we see the court there will have a lot of things to deal with in this particular petition. Will it be a battle of percentages? 50.49%. Is it a good one to win? Questions the court will be answering. And of course, the man at Israel prayers to court are also broken down there in the Daily Nation. Well, of course, Mollen will be taking you now onto the roads, looking at what's the situation, but also don't forget, as Robert did say earlier, for some of you who have express tickets not paid, take note that there's been a lot of crackdowns. I don't know if they are cracking down border borders, but lately the registration is actually going on in different parts of Kampala. Do not forget, for some of you, the border riders, to go and do register yourselves. To you, Mollen.
Well, we do have some of the responses that are coming through from our poll question, and Consol Kawinya, that is watching from Tanzania, is saying that actually Parliament's main function as the absolute legislative authority is to build fair and strong laws relating to all odd male. And of course, he goes ahead to say members either House bring proposals to new bills or laws before the Parliament. Well, that is what he's also saying about that topic. And of course, we also have more views coming in. And this one is saying, good morning, Uganda family. I think at times Parliament as an institution crosses its boundaries. Issue of accountability and transparency would be solved by Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development or the anti-corruption units. Well, Derek from Makindye is also giving his views about that. And obviously, we'll be reading much more of that a little bit later on, saying into how everyone is concerned, especially when it comes to development of this country. I also want to take you through some of the traffic updates on the road. It looks like a lot is happening, especially when you're starting off with quite a clear day. Most of the roads are quite clear, not a lot of traffic. Usually, we do have traffic build-ups, especially on the roundabouts, and those you can expect because you have a lot of most cars joining in towards most of those roundabouts. And we will start it off with the one, especially across as heading towards Ginger Road, that joins in Access Road, the 8th Street, and of course with Mukwano Road. That is where we're seeing much traffic this morning. But again, as you head over towards Ginger Road, you do have most of that traffic as you're heading into town. Do expect that, especially if you're looking at coming through from industrial area towards Clock Tower. That is mainly where we have a lot of traffic building up. But again, as you head over, it looks like it starts to clear up, but also not to long distances now traffic does build up again. If you look at that road that connects through to Parliamentary Avenue, we do have a little bit of traffic if you're joining Ginger Road, but again, if you're leaving Ginger Road, it's a bit clear in green lines right over there. But again, moving over, you see right from Parliamentary Avenue, if you own Ginger Road, there is more traffic that is building up in orange lines right there towards Kampala Road. You start building up with traffic, but again, after that, it starts to clear up as you head towards mostly Central Bank, as you head towards that is from the City Square. Also, it looks like we do have clear traffic with green lines over there indicating that. And of course, it does get good, especially for Kampala Road as you're heading over, crossing over to Ginger Road, to Bombo Road. You do see most of that in green lines indicating quite clear traffic. So this is one road to actually use. Most people do fear this road because of the traffic that usually builds up. But this morning looks like it is clear for you, and you can go ahead and use that. Now, although after the City Square, if you're heading over to Bombo Road, you might need to be on the lookout or even take shortcuts over there because it looks like traffic starts to build up again. Now, if you are able to take the upper roads, especially through over to Parkington Road, you look at Porto Avenue, also having quite clear roads, and most of those also looking like if you would take quite a detour over there, you could be looking at quite some clear traffic, and then later on you can join onto Bombo Road. But using Kampala Road towards that would be really putting you through some of the traffic that we see in red lines right there building up for you. And of course, we continue to give in most of the advice, especially if you're a road user. Make sure that you actually a very good driver. Observe all the traffic guidance, and of course, to make sure that you're safe and also keeping everyone on the road quite safe, because that would be your responsibility. And also, we're now looking at more of the accidents coming in. Police is reporting that, again, we've gotten laxity. We had toned it down a little bit with accidents, but those are not deliberate, although there's a lot that we can do to make sure that we are not in such situations, and that is discipline. I would advise discipline when you're on the road. That goes for the drivers, but also all road users, including pedestrians, to just be on the lookout so that you're not caught up. Well, we also want to take a look into the weather for this morning. We do know that we have been seeing at least a pickup of wet weather activities, especially over western Uganda. Northern Uganda has been continuing with those rainy conditions, and of course we've had much performance of rains over there. This has been majorly their rainy season, especially for northern regions where it actually goes from June into September. Those are the times we do have more rainy conditions, and of course that has been performing to a larger extent. By looking into what we have this morning, it looks like we have another rainy morning across West Nile. We are starting off with most of those rains across areas of Arua, Yumbe. You look at Nebi, Zombo right there. We do have those clouds indicated in the green orange colors right there. That is the rainy system that we have started with this morning, but it looks like that is moving away mostly westwards. It will be leaving the area with mostly in terms of sunny and cloudy conditions, but also that's the same system extending towards midwestern Uganda. We do have Hoima right there. Looks like you do have a cloudy morning, some of those rains that are already spilling over, but also that system is moving westwards and might be leaving quite a cloudy morning over there. Now that system is obviously involved with cold weather as well for that area. Now it looks like we have more clouds that are also developing towards southwestern Uganda. Mubende already having mostly cloudy weather that goes through towards areas of Fort Porter. Another cloudy morning for you right there. We'll be having intervals of sunny conditions, but most of that will be also changing later in the afternoon, where we do expect most rains to develop, especially across that western stretch. Now we are having also another rainy system that is stretching from the islands of Lake Victoria, right there shown in the green and blue colors right there, and orange. That's the system that has started off across the islands of Lake Victoria, already bringing in rainy weather across Kalangala. Looks like that is spreading even towards the western parts of Lake Victoria. It will be bringing in a little bit of rains towards areas of Masaka, Nyantonde, you can't expect most of those rains to come through later this morning, but that is the same system that will be affecting the central part over towards areas of Kampala, Entebbe, Mityana. We're looking at Mukono, those areas we could be looking at quite some rains this morning also from this very system, and we're also seeing more clouds that are developing over there. That means that it could also be building in to bring us more rains across that area. Now, if you move over to the eastern part of the country, looking at areas of Busia, Mbale, you have Palisa right there, starting off with quite a cloudy morning, and also for Kamuli, quite a cloudy morning with intervals of sunny conditions. Now, most of those will be clearing for quite a sunny morning for you right there, and it looks like that will be going on, crossing over into the afternoon, but we do expect some rains to develop later, especially to the lower side of eastern Uganda, that is the eastern side of Lake Victoria, Jinja, Tororo. That is where we could be seeing rains in the afternoon, but for now that will also be dealing with mostly intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Mostly sunny for the eastern parts of the country, Soroti, Amuria, Kavenamaido. We're looking at sunny skies for you right there. It's quite a pleasant morning. Also the weather, the temperatures seem to be a little bit pleasant for you in the mid-20s. Now that is also going to continue. We'll be continuing into the afternoon across eastern Uganda. Now, same weather across the Karamoja region. We're starting off with mostly intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. Areas of Kotido, you look at Moroto as well, quite a sunny morning for you. Same for Padel, Kitgum, Gulu, Lira. We're starting off with quite a sunny morning. We do have a mix of cloudy conditions, but at least not enough to bring in the rains this morning. However, we do expect that rainy system to develop again across most areas around central northern Uganda. So Kitgum, Lira, Padel, Gulu, you can't expect to have most of those rains coming through later in the afternoon. That goes for that whole area towards West Nile, where we have Amuru, where we have Yumbe, Arua, Nebi, and of course that will be crossing over into midwestern Uganda, where we are expecting most of those rains to also come through, especially as getting from that system that is over to the western stretch of the country. Now, most of the systems that are developing actually in terms of wet weather conditions right now, due to some of the Congo air mass moving in, that usually is the rainmaker for western Uganda, which is why you see that western Uganda does receive mostly rainy conditions for this time of the year compared to the rest of the country. Also for northern Uganda, this is the time where we're transitioning from a dry season into the rainy season. Now that takes in most of these rain-bearing clouds movement, and of course that is affected by the pressure system south of Africa that usually do push most of these rain-bearing clouds. Most of its alignment at this time of the year has been towards the north. That explains the rainy conditions that we have continuously seen across northern Uganda. But also with most of these pressure systems, they are affected by some of the low pressure systems that do form across the Indian Oceans. Now, whenever those are there, they're taking away most of the moisture that would be coming towards the country. And of course, that does affect especially the eastern side of Uganda, where we see now that we have a reduction in terms of wet weather conditions. But earlier when we were starting off the dry season, actually we're seeing more pickup of wet weather activities towards eastern Uganda. And of course, that was because of the laxity in some of these low pressure systems. But now we see them developing again. And that is where you usually have tropical storms, even the cyclones that do form across the Indian Ocean, and whenever those are there, they will be taking away most of the moisture. That makes most of the areas, especially southern sector and eastern Uganda, continuing with mostly intervals of sunny and cloudy conditions. But we will be coming through with our rainy season forecast, and we do know that the East African Climate Prediction Center is sitting later this week to give us that final product, especially when we're looking at what to expect for September up to December. That's the season we're always looking for, especially in performance. But we have had at least 4 failed rainy conditions, rainy seasons for the past for this decade alone. We're looking at more failures in rainfall performance. We do have expectations that this rainy season will be a bit different, but again, wait to see what the forecast will be bringing for us. Well, that is it in terms of weather for this morning, but again, after that, we'll be having Good Morning Uganda agenda. Robert will be here to take you through that. And of course, after that, we'll be having sports highlights. Now, I know there are a lot of excited Man U fans out there and the sad Liverpool ones. But well, Robin will be taking you more of that, and of course more into sports. Later than that, we'll also be looking at Good Morning Uganda Extra. I want to leave you at that. My name is Mollen, Kenyena, and I want to wish you a good day.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Get connected today with the My Airtel 4G smartphone and enjoy free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 Uganda shillings. That's free 2 GB for the first month and free 1 GB for the next 11 months at only 250,000 Uganda shillings with free data for 1 whole year worth 86,500 shillings, making the effective price of the 4G phone 163,500 shillings only. Airtel, the smartphone network.
Welcome to English in a Minute. We all have a physical body that we can touch, and some people believe we also have a soul, a spiritual side of us. So what happens when we put them together?
Anna. Anna. Anna.
Jonathan, why are you yelling?
I'm trying to read. Can't you play your accordion somewhere else?
When I play the accordion, I play it body and soul.
You can put your body and soul into anything. Your work, your favorite sport, or if you are like Anna, music. Music. Oh. Ugh. Stop! And that's English in a Minute.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN cupboard. That's super easy.
I remember the lockdown, when the streets were empty and our lives disrupted, when businesses closed and our livelihoods hung in the balance. Hospitals were full. We lost loved ones, jobs, and hope. Our children couldn't study anymore. We cannot let this happen again. We should not go back. Get fully vaccinated against COVID-19 and join the millions of Ugandans who are already vaccinated.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
Leaders who care create a good learning environment.
Because a good school equals a better life.
Raising voices.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here. In the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's what you feel in the gentle caress of tropical wind from the mountaintops.
and the glow in your heart from a warm neighborly invite. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking to the taste of food that takes you on a journey. In the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth. In the magnificence we find on our travels and the exciting moments we experience. Ours is the kind of beauty that comes in all things big and small. All we have to do is awaken our senses and truly enjoy what's uniquely ours. Explore Uganda, the pearl of Africa.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Good morning once again. Thank you for keeping it with us here on UBC TV. It is Good Morning Uganda agenda, and we have usually guests in studios or a guest with whom we discuss a pertinent issue, and of course your views are always welcome. Through our various social media platforms, we'll get your views, your questions, and our guests usually respond to them. Once again, I'm Robert Kirabo Nyonyintono. In case you've just joined, this is your morning show every weekday. We are here from 6:30 till the hour of 9, and an extension into Good Morning Uganda Extra with Jagenda Semakula. Now that we are going to be discussing a century of the guide movement in Uganda, to be more specific, that is the Girl Guides movement in Uganda. And what is interesting is I have very, very smartly dressed ladies. And they are putting on that uniform that many of us, I think when we talk about scouts, people watching us, I don't know, but I want to believe that a number of you could, at least in your lifetime while in school, have been part of this. And if I introduce my guest to you, there's a very lovely song that runs in my memories every time I hear about it. And I remember my days as a little Boy Scout at Nakasero Primary School, dressed in that khaki, having my rope, my bayonet, my whistle. And that was one of the days I used to enjoy very well. So there's this anthem I like, Bud and Paul. I just want to test your memories. Just even if it's just a very short bit of it, the guests I have. Can we go? Baden Powell, Baden Powell, Baden Powell is our founder. Baden Powell, Baden Powell, Baden Powell is our founder. Yes. Now, this is the team I have. And they have brought back my memories. What an excitement this morning. And to introduce to you, I have, that is Kathy Nakazibwe, who is the program manager, Youth Exchange Scout to Scout. You're most welcome. South to South. Thank you so much for being part of this show. And also I have Aturindo Patience, who is the head of communication, Century Celebrations. You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Now, I want to begin by understanding I know you marked 100 years. That was in April, if I recall very well. Now, today, what do you have for us? Why are we still cherishing the 100 years that we achieved even up to today?
Okay, so today we are still celebrating. Celebrations, yes, we launched them in April. We turned 100 years actually officially. That was March 23rd, 2022. But officially we launched the celebrations in April. And we said we are going to have year-long activities. So we are still talking about our centenary. We are still celebrating 100 years of girl guiding in Uganda and all the achievements that we've had. So that is why we are still talking about our centenary, however much we launched it in April.
Okay, very interesting. Now also help us understand, when we talk about girl guides, many people, apart from seeing these very smart, young dressed girls in schools, what is the girl guide movement all about? If you may give us more to that, yes.
So the girl guide movement, it is a movement for girls and young women, and it instills values in young people. You find that a girl guide is really different from any other person because they get practical skills, and then they are usually morally upright. And a girl who has gone through guiding is so proud because you find that many people never went through guiding or scouting, but a person who has ever been there knows what is there. And they are really proud of ever being girl guides or scouts all over the world. Even when you go to Europe, you find a person, they say, I was a scout, I was a girl guide, and they are proud of it.
Oh, now I understand. I can see why many of these that have interacted with many girl guides, actually some feel as if they belong to a certain force. Very excited, feel like they belong to a certain force. Now also going back to these celebrations for 100 years, let's also look at what do you have in line for these year-long celebrations? What activities, because of course we know many times specific dates have certain things to be done. What should we expect as we look at 100 years celebrations?
Okay, as we look at our 100 years, we have lined up several activities. We're going to have tree planting because as girl guides, we believe we need to protect the environment. And of course, you know what has been happening. So we have tree planting, that is Girl Guides Go Green. We are going to have walks and runs, and these are not going to happen only in Kampala, but in all regions where we have girl guiding taking place. We are also going to have our final and the biggest event is going to be the Centenary Camp, 100 years of girl guiding, and this camp is going to attract over 1,000 girl guides from Uganda and beyond. You know, girl guiding is international. It's not just in Uganda. We belong to the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts. So we are going to attract girl guides from all over the world. Come and we camp and enjoy and call it a centenary year for the girl guides. And then of course we're also planning health camps, and these health camps we are going to partner with other organizations within Uganda, because we know we are not working alone as girl guides, we work in partnership with others. So that is, in brief, those are some of the activities we are going to have. So the centenary camp that I've talked about is going to take place in December, from the 6th to the 11th of December. So we are calling everyone to come and join in and to be part of the 100 years of girl guiding. Okay,
100 years of girl guiding. One would want to know, we now know what the girl guide movement is all about, but how does one become a member? I was in school and I remember it was something by choice, voluntarily, if you wished so. And because in school we were recruited, they'll tell you that this club and that club. Then you go home, Mommy, I want to become a scout. I'm like, oh, I was a girl guide. I was lucky. So it's like, oh, very interesting. There you have your attires and boom, you're a scout. The girl guides equally. But now I see mature. Actually, my first thought, apart from my instructor, maybe this is all about school. And once you're done with school, it's something that ends there. So how do you recruit your members?
Okay, so for guiding, recruitment is voluntary, whereby somebody with interest joins guiding, and in most cases, people we recruit are in schools. You find that most of the clubs we have are in schools, but though We also have community guiding. So in a school, if the school is interested in starting a Girl Guide unit, they'll express their interest. They'll write to the district guide commissioner. By the way, guiding is all over the country. We have district structures in all districts of Uganda. So they'll express their interest. They'll invite a trainer to come and take them through. Then afterwards, they'll start a Girl Guides club. Then we also have mature Girl Guides like me. So as for our role, we are there for the interest of the young people. Our role is to guide the young ones. And for the adult Girl Guides, we are in leadership positions. And you also find from the school level, there's a Girl Guide leader who's called a guider. So the guide leader at school is called a guider. And then in guiding, we have different branches. So we have the rainbows. Those are the Girl Guides who are in nursery section, kindergarten.
Oh, even kindergarten?
Yes. Then we have brownies. Those are the ones in lower primary, and the uniforms are even different. Then we have junior guides. Those are the ones in upper primary. Then we have Girl Guides in secondary school. Those are called rangers. Then we have young leaders. Those are from 18 to 35, the young adults. Then after that level, we have the adult leaders. So the adult leaders are supposed to guide the Girl Guides at all those levels. So they are leaders guiding the girls at those levels that I've mentioned. Then we have also leaders. We have, by the way, we also carry out elections every after 3 years. So we elect our leaders every after 3 years. So we have the council. The council comprises of all the district guide leaders. So we meet once a year in an annual general meeting. We elect our leaders. Then we have the small executive that manages the day-to-day running of the association. Then we also have the secretariat, which runs the activities of girl guiding.
Prudency, help us understand, how do you, where do you get the financial assistance to move this movement? Because I want to believe it's more voluntary basis. So how do the girl guide survive the movement? How do you coordinate? Now you're talking about meetings here. When I was in school, I remember one of the very serious movements in school then was the Girl Guides and the Boy Scouts. We would see people like you, not you in particular, but I mean, I think the mentors or the guiders come, you know, meet these girls. They would have conferences. They would go camping, you know, during holiday time as you're going to break off maybe 1 or 2 days. And they seemed very organized, very organized. So where do you get the funds to run all these activities?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, we are a voluntary organization. And basically our funds come from membership fees. So for you to belong to the movement, you have to subscribe. You have to subscribe, pay a small fee, and that small fee that is paid right from the youngest child to the eldest member helps us to run the organization. But of course, apart from membership fees, we also get some support from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Education and Sports. And we are so grateful to His Excellency the President and the Minister of Education, who is our patron, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni. So we are really grateful to them, because through the ministry we've been able to get some support since 2019 to run the activities of the organization. Of course, however much I said membership, it is never enough. It is not everyone pays membership, because we know the kind of some of the members that we have are not able to pay that small fee. So we always look for support here and there. And for example, my colleague here, Kathy, is a program officer for Youth Exchange South to South program. That is a project. So we also look for funders and donors to come in and support our work. So we thank our funders who have been with us over the years, supporting the activities that we are doing, helping us to help the girls to be able to take action within their communities and to, you know, to create change. So without the support of funders, the government, and of course our membership, I don't think we'd be able to survive. That is how we are surviving in brief.
Well, Kathy, please also help us understand how many people are in this movement. What is your coverage? You could say nationwide, but Are we really national in nature, the Girl Guides movement? If I went to Karamoja, if I went to Madiokolo, if I went to Mitukula there, would I find this movement very active?
Yes, guiding in Uganda, we have over 400,000 members, and these are spread all over the country, though I can say that they're basically in the mother districts of Uganda, and then we have also tried to move into the new districts, and of course when you went to all those areas that you've mentioned, you'll find the Girl Guide leaders there. Yes.
Okay, well, also, Prudence, help us understand, or what benefit has this movement been to this country? From saying this is a club, because, you know, schools have a lot of social clubs. We had Interact Club, we had the Scout and Girl Guide movement, we had Debaters Club. By the way, these days schools have a number of clubs. So apart from saying this is a way of interaction, keeping co-curricular activities, keeping the girls busy and all that, let's look at anything tangible to communities, society, if at all it is, by this movement.
Okay. At the core of our mission is leadership development. So as Girl Guides all over the world, or in Uganda, we look at leadership development. So that is why you see we subdivide our Girl Guides into groups. So from each level, they have small groups, and in those small groups, they learn how to take on different roles, how to become leaders. So what I'm proud of as a Girl Guide, and what I can say our contribution is to the country's development, is that we have supported the development of good and great leaders. For example, look at the former Speaker of Parliament, Honorable Rebecca Kadaga. She is a Girl Guide. Look at the former Vice President, the Honorable Kaziwe. She is a Girl Guide. So we have trained several women in this country who have taken on leadership roles, not just as politicians, but some are leading big organizations within this country. And so for us, we proud ourselves in saying that we contribute to leadership development, because right from start, right from childhood, the child grows up knowing that they have different responsibilities they have to take. In their small groups that we call the patrol groups, they take different turns in becoming leaders. So right from childhood, at whatever level you join Girl Guiding, leadership development is the core.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this reminds me to inform you, our viewers, that you can be part of the topic of discussion this morning by simply joining us on our WhatsApp number, which is on your screen. That is 0709 60 25 92. 0709 60 25 92. Please feel free to be part of the topic of discussion this morning as we look at 100 years of the Girl Guide movement in Uganda. It is a year long full of activities in celebration of them having marked 100 years. We want to hear from you when it comes to the Girl Guides. Are you a Girl Guide? Well, are you aware of these celebrations? How are you going to be part of them? Are you a parent when it comes to that as well? Do you know the benefits of your child being a Girl Guide? And this brings me to a very interesting question, Kathy. Many times, parents tend to look at what is examinable. You know? Parents tend to look at some of these, the Girl Guide movement, does your neighbor examine that? You know, isn't it going to derail you from concentrating on your academics? I was a victim of that, where my mom was a Girl Guide and liked me to be a scout, and she was so much, even buying all these gadgets, my bayonets, the rope and all that. My father was like, me. When it came to time, your friends are going for camping, or you're excited as you see them come, my father said, we would have gone, but your dad would have. So, you know, so to the parents, I know the benefits of being a scout, but I want to hear from you, a parent watching us today, they're in holiday, maybe a child watching us and they want to join the Girl Guide movement, and there's that conflict between child and parent. Speak to that parent.
Okay. I, as a parent, I would encourage parents to encourage their children to join clubs in schools, especially the Girl Guides Club, because guiding trains a girl as in the whole body, trains the hands, trains the legs, trains the head, while academics only trains the head. So for a person who has ever gone through guiding, she'll be having values, she'll be knowing practical skills, and that person will be a different person compared to a person who's academically only. So we find that I would really encourage parents to leave their children to join clubs in schools.
Very interesting. Well, just reminding you that you can be part of the topic of discussion this morning by simply sending us an SMS message, the traditional SMS, on 070 96 025 92, or you can send a WhatsApp message on that very number, 0709 60 25 92, and I'll be reading it out regarding the topic of discussion this morning, with focus on the Girl Guides movement as they celebrate 100 years. Now, Prudency, when you talk about these 100 years, one would say it's quite a long time. It's quite a long time, showing how long this movement has been around in Uganda. Yeah. But what is there for you to be proud of, apart from saying we've come up with a number of leaders you've mentored that we appreciate? Is there anything that you feel that really this we have achieved as the Girl Guide movement, from mentoring and shaping society? Because 100 years of existence is quite a long time.
Yeah. 100 years is quite a long time, as you say. Of course, we've done a lot. We have mentored in different aspects, especially in areas that are affecting the girl child. We proudly say that when it comes to menstruation management and hygiene, the Girl Guide movement is the lead in that section. We have helped girls and women out there. You know, the challenge is that we usually look at urban areas and we think, people know it. But people don't know. People have challenges out there. So as an organization going out there, addressing issues that are affecting the girl child, helping this girl become confident, helping her to speak out, to take action within her communities, for us it is a plus. And maybe in these 100 years, I can also say that as a movement, we've not been sleeping. We know the world is competitive. Things are, moving at high speed. We've also embraced technology in the work that we are doing. We have expanded by acquiring assets as an organization. We have regional land. In, for example,
maybe just sorry to interject. Please, viewers, do not call the line that is on your screen. It's not for calling, and I will not pick up that call. What you should do is just send us an SMS or a WhatsApp message on that line on your screen. Please do not call. Send us a message, and I guarantee you I'll read out your message. I'll read out your WhatsApp message, or even if it is an SMS. For example, I'm a Girl Guide leader in my school, Kenyena Memorial Primary School, Chiboga. And she says, I thank my head teacher, Mr. Rubega Joseph, for he fully supports us. It's an SMS message. However, I didn't get your name. All I know is you're a Girl Guide leader in Kenyena Memorial Primary School in Chiboga District. Thank you so much for being on the show, and of course, thank you for your message. Keep the messages coming in. You can use the same number for WhatsApp, or even if you send a text message like the Girl Guide leader has done, we'll still read out that message. Still looking at achievements?
Okay, so we were still talking about achievements. I said that over the years, we've also now acquired our own land, because we've been, asking leaders, districts, please give us land. And yes, we are very grateful that there are districts that have come to our help, given us camping land. But as an association, we've also acquired our own pieces of land. We have one in southern region, that is in Isinjiro. We have about 4 acres of land there, where Girl Guides in that region can meet and camp, and we are also looking forward to developing that campsite. We have in Omoro district, that is now, we call it northern region, and it's also camping area, about 5 acres of land. Then of course we also have good working relationships with the Kingdom of Buganda. We thank the Kabaka of Buganda for giving us 20 acres of land in Butambala, where we are going to, where we shall camp set up facilities as well. And so over the years, we've created partnerships with different organizations within Uganda and beyond. We have worked with different partners who have come in to fund some of the activities that we've talked about. Like, for example, you cannot take action out there on menstruation issues, on confidence issues, on COVID issues without funders. We've also been working on impact of COVID-19 in Kyiv and Pade district. How do we help communities to deal with these challenges that we've been facing? So there is a lot that I can talk about Girl Guiding and what we've done over the years. And I think if we are given more opportunity to keep coming for Good Morning Uganda, we shall keep giving you more and more information.
I love the fact. You wanted to supplement?
Yes, I also wanted to add something. The Girl Guide movement, we also have a campaign called the Lugabire campaign. And this one, we've started with Dokolo district. You find that many young girls and boys go to school barefooted and they walk long distances. So we started the Lugabire campaign. We've been collecting shoes. You find that many of us have shoes that we don't wear. So we've been collecting shoes and then taking to the children in Dokolo district, school-going children. And then you cannot imagine the happiness one gets. There's a school we went to, and most of the kids had never worn shoes in their whole life.
I can see the trouble.
So when we gave them shoes, they tried them on. And then as we were leaving the school, we found most of them, they were trying to try them on. Then they would exchange with another person. Then for some of them, they kept them. And then, you know, the kind of happiness that we brought to the people of Dokolo, I believe they are so grateful to us as a Girl Guide movement. And we encourage people, wherever you are, if you have shoes that you don't need, if you have like 10 pairs of shoes, you can part with 2 or 3 pairs. Bring them to our office, and then we donate them to the children in Dokolo district. Thank you so much.
Okay.
And then something else that we are addressing that is really affecting this nation is on alcohol abuse. So it is one of the projects that we are working on. We are looking at alcohol prevention amongst the youth and the children. Of course, we are under, we belong to Uganda Alcohol Policy Alliance. We are a member. So we are working with UWAPA in alcohol regulation in the country. As we are working in our small districts where we have Girl Guiding clubs, we also work with UWAPA at national level. We are seeking government to come in to help us have an alcohol regulation bill. We have a control policy, yes, but we need a bill. The existing law is really outdated. So we come in to say we want to address certain issues when it comes to alcohol use. Looking at marketing, we're looking at the sale. If it would be possible, we'd even increase the age from 18 years to 21 years. We are looking at you know, the advertisements that are taking place that are all over the place, the billboards, too attractive, you know. So when it comes to such issues, Uganda Girl Guides Association strongly says no to alcohol use, especially amongst the children. We want to have an alcohol-free nation.
Okay, alcohol-free nation. Yesterday we lost 12 people due to a local brew or gin that is being brewed there in Arua. We lost people in Madiokolo, we lost people in Arua there, and we continue to pray for about 20 that have been also admitted so that they can recover when they took this gin. I think it's called G5 Extra. And it worked on them, only to be noticed that even that industry was not certified by the Uganda National Bureau of Standards. Continue to sympathize and pray for the families that a good road may strengthen them. So when you talk about alcohol, I look at that as something very important. Also, let's go back to community work. Of late, I don't see, maybe because you're just from COVID, but it was something that every time, maybe during holidays or when you're about to break off, we see the Girl Guides doing some community work. Kathy, what happened?
We still do community work. Find that we do a lot of community outreaches. We sensitize communities on issues affecting them in their communities. We also we also help some communities clean their wells. Recently, we helped the people, I think you know the market near in Bwaise, opposite Total, along Northern Bypass. That market, we went there, and practically the people there, their water was contaminated. The well they have, it was mixing, so where they were collecting water from, the dirty water was mixing with the water that they were collecting. So we helped them clear the well. And if you went there now, you'd find that their well is clear. At least they're now getting clean water, unlike before. Then, I think you know of a place called Chiswera in Kawempe. That place, those people specialized, I think, in alcohol brewing and selling. So they've been living in a very dirty environment. So we went there and helped clean their environment with them. We encouraged them to keep their environment clean. And tomorrow, we are going to go back again to teach them about about sanitation. We shall also teach them about Surf Smart. Surf Smart is a program whereby we are encouraging people to use internet safely. We find that many people are abusing the internet, even adults like us. So we are going to take them through that. We are also going to encourage them to do some small gardening, backyard gardening. Though they live in a very small place, but they can still grow vegetables around their houses in tins. Then there are also some herbs that they can plant, like there are some spices that they can plant in tins and then live healthy. So that is what we are going to do. We've been doing so many activities. We've been having health camps, whereby we encourage people, we provide medication to people. Many people have been sick for a long time, but you find that when you go to hospital, it is so expensive. But when you get an opportunity of getting free medication, you go in for it.
Well, let me first take a look at some of the messages. Hello, everyone in the studios. Good morning. This is Isaac Mude from Wakiso District, Bulindo. Blessings come from God, and I want to take this opportunity to wish, that is to wish you fruitful celebrations as you continue. Then I have another one. Thanks, presenter. I'm Rebecca. Dek Luengo District, we are proud of Girl Guides as we celebrate 100 years. We have trained girls in social entrepreneurship, spiritual and social skills. Regards to Kathy and Prudency. Well, we also have another one, says, it is a very good program. Thank you so much. She's a girl guide, I want to believe, from Nakaseke International College. Thank you for watching. Let me now look at some of the SMSs that are coming in. Oh, quite many. Please be patient with me. I promise I will read those that I can. Good morning. I'm Watamba from Karenga District. I like Girl Guide guys. Should move this side over to Karamoja region. If at all you are really a movement. Thanks. This one is challenging. If you're really a movement. So, Karamoja Wabalins, where are you? Then one says, good morning, my comrades whom we are watching live on UBC TV from Arua. I'm enjoying the show basically on Girl Guide, but we people of West Nile don't see your impact so much, sincerely speaking. Cause if I see the highest number of young teenage girls getting pregnant comes from West Nile, how can these young girls get pregnant with such a movement? Okay. Yeah. Good morning, I'm a girl guy. Okay, good morning once again. I'm a Bob Grace from Kitagenda Memorial Primary School, Chiboga. I didn't get parental guidance throughout my childhood, but due to the skills learned in Girl Guide, I'm an upright and I will always live to help disadvantaged children. I love girl guiding. It is part of my blood. Okay. Well, something there for you. I'm Huntington. I just want to know how I can join the Girl Guide movement. Oh, Huntington. Okay. They'll clarify there. Then, thanks. I'm Fred Okwire. I'm from Soroti City. Girl Guide is doing well here. Send my regards to Prudency. Soroti City. I am Merrick from Ginger. When I was a girl child in my primary school, our mentor used to say that we will be able to fight for our rights where necessary. Well, I think I have to end messages on this one. If time allows, I'll get back to and read a number of them. But many are saying thank you for the good work, and they are really appreciating girl guiding. However, also they said this should be compulsory in all schools. This brings me to ask. Yes, you've talked about support from Ministry of Education, but girl guiding is not compulsory in schools.
No.
So if a school chooses not to have girl guides, it is okay. If you want your child to be part, take them to a school where girl guiding is then possible. But let's also now look at some of the messages that have come in. You're not in Arua, you're not in Karamoja, you're a movement. Prudence, would you like to take that on?
Yes, I would like to. We are actually in Arua, we are actually in Karamoja. In Karamoja, we are in Nakapiripirit, we are in Moroto, Kotido, Napak. So I know Karamoja has several other districts where we are not. We are also in Abim, actually. So I don't know which district the person who sent the SMS is from, but we have trained leaders in each of those districts, and also clubs within the schools. Of course, it is not easy to be everywhere because also funds cannot allow us to, to be everywhere. And then in Arua, we are there. We have district leaders who even recently came for our launch of the centenary, and the district supports those girl guides in one way or the other. So maybe the only thing I can say is we are still trying to reach each and every corner of the country. Even if we are in a certain district, we might not have our presence in all schools, like you heard from one of the SMSs. Sometimes some schools do not accept the movement, but then others do. But then we continue to lobby and advocate and bring more schools and on board. One thing we've now decided to do, other than schools, we are doing what we are calling community girl guiding. That is setting up girl guiding clubs within the communities. We get leaders from the communities, identify them, train them and give them skills, and then encourage them to help the girls within their communities, especially over the weekend when schools are closed, or during holidays when these children come home. They need to keep doing certain activities so that we keep them in shape and in order. So our listeners, our viewers, I just want to tell you that we are trying our level best to go to all ends of Uganda, to reach out, because we know all girls are valued and want them to take action to change their communities. We want them to take action to make this world a better place.
Well, one of the things I love about the girl guide is the confidence that it creates in these young girls. Very confident. When they go to this camping, of course, that braveness that a young girl can know that, yes, you can sleep in a tent somewhere. Fear is brought out. The exercise, the drills they do, it is something that you love your daughter to be part of the movement. But also we have Anguyu, who says, thanks for this campaign. You are doing well. However, this program is only catering for those, who have, Anguyu says you should be more on ground. I think that is something they responded to. Then we have, good morning, Uganda. My question is, are there sponsorship opportunities that are available for girl guides so as to motivate them in participating in the girl guide activities alongside studies? If those opportunities are there or scholarships exist, maybe the parents to these girls would practically encourage them to participate in these activities. That is Okira Daniel, a student, Makerere University, Environment Science. So, Kathy, do you have these or sponsorships or scholarships, something like that?
Like we said, girl guiding is a voluntary movement, and most of our funding comes from membership subscriptions. We can't really sponsor students or children in school, but we have other programs, like the program I coordinate. It is an exchange program. The girls are sponsored. They go to another country, and the countries are 13. They stay there for 6 months, and then they come back. And while there, they're given a very good allowance. Everything is catered for. So they travel in a plane, then come back in a plane. And before they even go for the program, you find that they've boarded like 3 planes. And that is a very good opportunity for them. So for somebody who's struggling with maybe school fees, especially those at the university, they can go for the program, save on that allowance they get, then come back and study.
Another interesting one, though we've talked about it, is my humble plea that girl guiding is made compulsory in all schools, because the skills a girl gets from the club are lifelong and help them cope in the free and challenging world. Josephine Nakangu. Thank you, Josephine. Now, Prudence, why have you pushed for this, or are you in a comfortable zone?
We are not in a comfortable zone. We have tried to push, and we continue to push and to urge the Ministry of Education, through our patron, who is also the minister for the ministry, to let girl guiding be compulsory in schools, or to let all schools have girl guiding, because yes, you find we have this girl guiding, there is scouting, and you know, scouts also recruit females as well. But for us, we are appealing to the Ministry of Education that let them tell all head teachers, let them know that let girls be in girl guiding, because we have special programs for them. We have programs that can help them to develop their confidence, to develop the whole character, the whole person. You know, developing a person from head to toe. That is what we do in girl guiding. Kathy talked about previously, the skills that we give. So we feel it is very important if each and every girl was able to go through girl guiding. Most people might not understand it, but I know once you get an opportunity to interact with us, you'll be able to understand exactly what kind of skills and values we shall instill in the girl child. And that's why we are still lobbying and requesting the Ministry of Education, please let all girls go join the girl guiding clubs within their schools.
Then another one from Street Lawyer, that is Kalenge, that is a street lawyer from Kalenge district. Good morning, I love Girl Guide movement, but how I hope it would move to all districts in the whole country. Well, that is a prayer, and of course they have told us that we hope one day it will be everywhere. Good morning to you all. I'm Winnie, but I would wish to be a member of the Girl Guide. How can I become one? Kathy, how does one join you people?
Now, Winnie, if you are in school, you can join through your school. You can encourage your head teacher or the teachers at your school to introduce guiding in your school. Then if you are between 18 to 35, you can join the Young Leaders group. We have a group at the headquarters. Our headquarters are located along Buganda Road on Baden Powell House. So you can get in touch with us, then we take you through the Girl Guide movement.
And of course, now you're well aware of how you can join the benefits and the celebrations. A year long full of activity with the mega camp in December, where all the Girl Guides are going to be converging both in Uganda and of course outside. There we have this movement. But let me have my final remarks from my guest this morning, beginning with Prudence.
Thank you very much for hosting us this morning. And my humble appeal is to you all, kindly join our campaign. We have a campaign where we are fundraising. We want to raise 500 million towards our centenary celebrations, our camp that we're having in December. So please join the drive. Whatever you have, even if it's 500 shillings up to whatever, even billions, are most welcome. We would want this camp to be a camp of a lifetime. We have girl guides out there in some of these districts who would want to come and camp, but cannot afford. So if you can support a girl to come camping, it will be a humble pleasure, because we want everyone to feel the 100 years of girl guiding in Uganda. And of course, we want to recruit more people into girl guiding movement. So that our doors are open. We have leaders all over the country. So humbly join this great movement and join the movement that is training girls and young women in leadership development. Thank you.
Kathy, your parting shot.
Yes, thank you so much. Our dear viewers, we thank you for listening to us and viewing us. I would encourage everybody who has ever been a Girl Guide to participate in the centenary activities. We shall be having a homecoming, whereby we shall invite everybody who has ever been a Girl Guide at any level to come and identify with us. And then we also have those people who have wished guiding well. They can also join as friends of guiding and be part of us. We would love to see all of you at the homecoming. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, our viewers, for your messages. I see many are still coming in. Those that have gone on our social media platforms on Twitter, I've not been able to read them because of time, but please, thank you for being part of the show. And it is my humble appeal to every parent, please, if you have a boy, support them to join the Boy Scout movement. If you have a girl, support them to join the Girl Guides. And now the Scouts also have Scouts that are girls. Anyway, so these are some of the social or the curricular or clubs in schools that shape character, shape behavior, and above all, promote leadership skills in these children. Life is not all about books and pass marks. There is much more that you need to have a fully well-packaged human being. And one of the ways is the Girl Guide movement in Uganda. Have a lovely day. God bless you.
Every waking day is a reminder just how beautiful this, our land, truly is. The kind of beauty that you can only find here. In the lush green all around us and the wondrous sights within. It's what you feel in the gentle caress of tropical wind from the mountaintops. And the glow in your heart from a warm neighborly invite. It's in the distinct aroma of our cooking to the taste of food that takes you on a journey. In the sound of homecoming and the sound of Mother Earth. In the magnificence we